Hello, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Technically Analytics. At the time of writing this video, the Texas Rangers just swept the Baltimore Orioles in the ALDS. This video will look into why the Rangers are so good. Also, we should know how great the Orioles were all season. This is the Orioles' first playoff appearance since 2016, so we can chalk it up to experience because when you look at this Rangers roster, it's littered with veterans who have been to the playoffs. To prepare for this video, I went to Baseball Reference and to the Rangers page. I did my usual scroll through. Then I decided to sort by OPS Plus to see which players had the best season. And no surprise to anybody who follows baseball, the list goes as follows: Corey Seager, Mitch Garver, Adolis Garcia, Marcus Semien, and Nathaniel Lowe. Starting from the bottom, Nathaniel Lowe had a breakout season in 2022 and continued to do well even if he cooled off a little bit. Honorable mention to Josh Jung, who hasn't fully shown out, but is headed in the right direction. Next on the list is Marcus Semien, who is just 2 seasons removed from a 45 home run season. Semien has been good for a long time. Up next is Adolis Garcia, who has shown he can be a big league power hitter since he came into the league. A notable 39 home runs leads the team. Mitch Garver had a hell of a season, although only 87 games given his catching duties. Unfortunately, Garver does have injury problems, but the guy at the top, Corey Seager, is a former World Series MVP and an NLS MVP with Rookie of the Year, 2 Silver Sluggers, and 4 All-Star appearances. Seager is the hitter I will focus on when looking at the Rangers' success. Seager put up career numbers. He had his highest OPS with a 1.013 and his second highest OPS plus, along with the highest slugging percentage of .623. Despite only 119 games, when Seager was on the field, he proved why he got that huge contract with the Rangers in the first place. The first year was a bit disappointing, but Seager delivered, and more, as you can see by the numbers. Seager sort of reminds me of when the Mets signed Francisco Lindor to that 10-year deal. The first year struggled, but since then, Lindor has played really well. If you dive a little deeper into Corey Seager's Baseball Savant page, you're immediately greeted by the variety of red sliders in his batting section. If you ignore his fielding and running, you can tell right off the bat, this guy just smashes the ball. Similar to Ronald Acuna Jr., video on the channel, Seager doesn't miss on any pitch. His run values are all positive or neutral. His highest whip percentage is on the curveball, more than 100 pitches. His highest K percentage pitch is the slider. But when you look at the slugging percentage on each pitch, there literally isn't a preferable one if you're a pitcher. A more useful visualization of Seager's hitting prowess is the zone chart. Seager does have weak spots, but nearly anywhere in the zone is a hot spot. We can see by Seager's career season and the really good offensive output by the Rangers lineup that the offense wasn't the problem for the Rangers. The question, it still remains, did the pitching staff do the job to the same degree? Well, the Rangers made a bunch of high-profile acquisitions like Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, and Nathan Eovaldi. However, it seems to me that their ace in the hole was the trade deadline addition of Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery holds the highest ERA plus of any starting pitcher on the Rangers roster. He also is he's only beat one reliever named Jose Leclerc, who had a great season as well. The acquisition of Montgomery came at the trade deadline. He was traded for 2 minor league teammates along with Chris Stratton from the woeful St. Louis Cardinals. Montgomery is a former Yankee who was dealt in the Harrison Bader trade on the 2022 trade deadline. Montgomery has always been a reasonable starter, but he's not considered to be an elite ace. However, a cursory glance at his career and his season stats don't necessarily do him justice. Also, Montgomery wasn't performing particularly well when he got traded from St. Louis. He managed a 127 ERA plus, but an actual ERA of 3.42 and a 1.248 whip. Now compare that to his 160 ERA plus and an actual ERA of 2.79 and a 1.094 whip. It's also notable that his FIP only went down 10 points, meaning he was only slightly better at creating strikeouts. When you glance at his Baseball Savant, the sliders aren't all bright red, but the ones that are fairly important. His walk rate is in the 82nd percentile at 6.2. His pitching run value and fastball run value are 89th and 93rd percentile respectively. If we go a little deeper, back to my favorite run value chart, you see immediately that Montgomery relies heavily on his sinker. We'll get into the reason for that in a second. But but the 16 run value on his sinker is really good. But the more telling fact is that his other pitches are in the negative or pretty low. His next best pitch is the curveball at 4. If you watch my video on Justin Steele, you'll probably understand pitchers often use setup pitches. In this case, Montgomery uses every other pitch in the arsenal as a setup pitch. In many cases, this works both ways. You can tell because the put-away percentages are fairly evenly matched. Also, the inconsistent K percentage numbers, but the reason why this works for Montgomery is his movement and spin plus placement. When you look at movement and spin charts, he tricks batters because his pitches have similar movement and spin. For example, his changeup, his sinker, and fastball all spin and move in the same direction. His curveball goes the opposite way. Now combine that with his placement, you start to get a picture of how Montgomery has success. The sinker and changeup are placed in relatively the same spot of the zone. Meanwhile, the fastball and curveball are placed mid-zone and low in the zone respectively. This means Montgomery can trick batters into confusing which pitch is coming. The Texas Rangers got hot at the right time and seem to have found the right players. To be honest, I'm kind of jealous as a Mets fan that they were able to really put it together. Seager and Montgomery are just two guys who have seemed to lifted their performance this season. The Rangers have a difficult road facing the Houston Astros, who did manage to snatch the division title from them. You'll know the results of that series when this video comes out. Thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe.